Good morning. Welcome to the crew. It's the end of preseason finally. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it's finally here. We're 2 weeks away from regular season. How we doing, gentlemen? Awesome. Good. Love the response. It's always great to hear from you guys.
What's with the hat?
What hat? Stouts?
Your hat.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly. What do you mean?
Your hat looks terrible.
It's beautiful. Here, we'll make it easier for everybody.
Whoa! Now, whoa!
There we go. Now we have
no
viewership.
Now it looks terrible. As we were talking off camera for a few minutes ago, did the Packers lost 27-2 the week before last? How did they?
Oh.
What was that all about? I didn't even see any of the stats or anything until just a few moments ago.
How did they manage to? Is that what you're asking?
No. They obviously It was third quarter, a safety by Zach Morton. That's the only saving grace of their. You know what? They shouldn't have even counted that. They should have just went with the big old goose egg. It would have looked better.
I was going to say, how can you say that's a saving grace? Our offense put up, and our defense has outscored our offense. And our defense put up 2.
Wow. A grand total.
Wow. That's
I'm just going to let
Brian
you guys
didn't
talk.
Want to have the show last week.
That was
like, at least we know why you didn't want to have the show.
No, that is not.
You had 168 total yards. 168 total yards. Passing yards 80. That's burning it up right there. 3.1 yards per play. Woo-wee. Well,
I don't know if you guys noticed, but Stout's here. Haven't seen him in almost as long as we haven't seen Jerry. How you been, Mike?
I've been all right.
How about them Cowboys?
What about them? What are we supposed to do?
The sky falling.
I told you guys that started after the draft. The free agency when he said we were all in and he did nothing.
So,
yeah, but what
is
year?
Dak really going to play quarterback the whole season, or you're going to have to turn to the great arm of Trey Lance? He's tearing it up.
Yeah, he does a good job running the ball, but not throwing it. So
maybe they'll put him back in kick return.
I doubt it. I really doubt it.
We talked. I don't know if you saw last week. We talked about that a lot, about how teams are going to be doing some tricky things with the new kickoff rules, and you might see a quarterback back there, or But anyway,
nope.
Enough garbage. Let's get into it. Andy, the Bears looked good against the Chiefs this week, 34-21.
Yep. Actually, it was 34 to basically nothing. They just kind of let them have a few. But it's even kind of more interesting because the Bears actually bolstered their defense by actually adding defensive tackle Chris Williams from the Browns. So that's pretty much
the guy gets to go from a potential AFC contender to the Bears.
To the Super Bowl champs. You watch.
Well, there's one. That's one prediction already in the show.
The Bears are preseason champs. That's what they got. That's all they'll have.
I mean, they went undefeated last year too.
You have Dak Prescott. You've got McCarthy. You've got Jones. You can't say anything about anybody ever because of those three.
34-21, my friend. 34-21. How'd your starters look? I mean,
good
analysis.
So it's actually kind of interesting. You actually had Bateman.
Did any starters play?
I think there might have been 1 or 2 out there. I think there might be 1 or 2 out there. Caleb Williams, of course, the main starters, of course, didn't really play, but that actually kind of leads to the fact that their backup quarterback Bateman, who it did pretty well that game, that's for sure. Even Rippon actually did pretty well. I think it's going to be kind of interesting. One or both of those guys are going to be probably picked up in free agency or something, or even after, just because they can definitely manage a game and fairly well, at least at this point. If you actually put them in a different offense, it might take a little bit of time to adjust. But you had
so you're telling me you think Bajan's good enough to be a starter on another team?
It's a possibility. I don't know if I would necessarily say like a full-time starter, but like an injury reserve type of starter kind of a thing, or even Tampa Bay. Yeah, he can start all day, any position, every position.
Seriously though,
if you actually had a quarterback in Dallas, that'd be dangerous.
He doesn't look bad. I mean, he puts up solid, statistics. He doesn't turn the ball over as much as, let's say, Trey Lance, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't know if he has the ability to be a starting. Not that there's anything wrong with being a backup in the NFL, but
it's granted there isn't that much of a comparison, but he kind of reminds me of the old punky QB from the '80s, in the fact that he kind of throws his body all over the field. He throws the ball in spots that he shouldn't necessarily, with some success, for the most part. And people actually kind of sort of gravitate around him.
Does he motivate the cats?
I would say
play so cool. He ain't.
Yes, he really kind of does, because of the fact that he throws his body all over the ground, all over the place. And I mean, look at the first touchdown that the Bears had, in one of their opening drives. Where he's, of course, scrambling for 10, 12 yards, whatever it was, and, of course, reached out for the pylon and, of course, scored. It's just one of those things. But, I just have a feeling that, he very well may actually be – and it depends on the team. You can go to New Orleans and probably start, actually. Because that guy over there isn't necessarily doing it for that team, but, we'll see.
So,
but at least the Bears didn't lose 27-2.
Right. You do have solid talent, though, solid young talent on the Bears right now with Rome Odunze on the outside as well. I think that's going to be a good combination going into the season. With DJ Allen, Rome Odunze, and DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen. Sorry, I'm throwing all three names together. But I think that's going to open up that offense quite a bit. Not sure they're going to do well enough to win the NFC North, but I think it's a solid division. They're going to be. Seems like every team's rising in that division. So,
yes, but so like we had mentioned, matter of fact, last night is the fact that the Bears have such an easy schedule. The first several games, I would say 8 or 9 games are actually so easy on the schedule that the Bears very well could be, 6-3, 7-2, something like that. Going into the actual harder part of the schedule where they would have a little bit of leeway, and still be able to, if anything, make the playoffs. Wild card, whichever the case is. And Rome Odunze, of course, is going to be a big part of that. Allen, of course, is going to be a part of that. DJ Moore, he and a few of the other players, I guess, left practice early yesterday, the day before, but everything's okay. I guess they were just having like a little mental day or something. I don't know. But then, of course, you have Swift, Herbert, all those guys that's going to make that offense a little bit more potent, especially if Caleb Williams can really kind of sort of get it together. He's got fairly good long passing, okay-ish intermediate passing, pretty good short passing. You get it all together, and Bears could, at the end of the first, quarter or half of the season, could actually be up by maybe a full game, maybe 2 games. Depends on how much back and forth you throw. Maybe even 3 games.
So
he's wishing upon a star again. He's wishing upon a star again.
Let's just see how it plays out.
That defense, have they improved at all defensively? You mentioned the fact that they picked up the tackle from Cleveland, but
yep, they did. They also picked up an edge rusher from the Ravens. That one guy. My computer's running incredibly slow, so I had his name already situated, but of course, it's taking its sweet time.
But so good old technology.
Seahawks. Oh,
His
we're
name's
still waiting.
Seahawk.
We're still waiting.
We're
Hold
not
on,
waiting. We're definitely moving along past the Bears.
Derail Taylor.
All right, Brian. You
Yo.
rebound from that debacle of week 2 preseason. Was it week 3? I think it was week 3. Whatever that 27-2 was. Come back this week and have a pretty good showing against the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, the Denver game was, that was a joke. Let's just put it that way. They did well against the Ravens. Obviously this was like, the battle of the backups. It's it's basically a glorified let's put all the tryhards out there and see who makes the team, right? So
but that game is probably more important than your tune-up.
Yeah.
You got to develop depth.
Right. And that's, the good thing about yesterday was I think we're finally figuring out exactly how this defense is gonna look. And I think when you saw out there the second and third stringers out there, I really feel like they have bowled well with getting a better defensive depth. You know what I'm saying? I can't talk today.
Developing defensive depth.
Yes. So the only other thing though that and actually kind of cracks me up is the biggest story out of camp is the kicking competition. Remember last year they drafted Anders Carlson in the draft. And as a rookie, he did okay. He just would miss some kicks that you would just scratch your head, go, how did you miss that one? And so they brought in Greg Joseph, who's, I think he was, wasn't he on the Vikings a while back?
Yes.
And so they brought him into camp. And so basically they've had a kicking competition. Well, yesterday, or actually, let's just go over the past month. Like both of them are kicking. They both made big kicks from 50 yards. But the thing is, Carlson's 50-yarder was like barely in, where Joseph could have probably I think he hit from like it was 55, and he had plenty of room to spare. It could have been a 60-yard attempt. He probably would have made it. But the thing is, Carlson missed a 32-yarder wide right, and everybody's going, what is wrong with this kid? So it's going to be interesting to see out of these two who makes it. I mean, I think it's hilarious that that's the competition that's being blown up in Green Bay. So,
I mean, they say iron sharpens iron. If you don't have iron, you can't sharpen. So, I understand why there's no 27-2, Brian.
Cheese on cheese.
The only explanation I can give you on that is that a lot of the starters did not play that game, but that's not an excuse, because it's like, well, the rest of the team should be prepared to play, and it was a joke. It was an absolute joke.
Man.
Your offense is predicated on field goals. Give a touchdowns like the Bears get.
But anyway, so we have Stout with us today. He actually is a member of the show. He's usually here during the season. What's going on in the Big D?
We're all in, baby. Oh, and then we're not doing nothing. That's what we do. We talk a lot and then nothing.
It's early, Mike. It's early. This guy cannot be falling this early.
I told you back after the draft the sky was falling. I already told you that. It's a free agency. We're all in and we don't do nothing. So basically, like the biggest. What? Say it. Say it.
Well, is there some sort of wide receiver drama down there right now?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Pay the man his money.
How?
So I don't know. They'll figure it out. That's like the only thing he's good at is figuring out how to pay players. So he's basically our whole offense passing. I mean, dude gets double covered and you throw the ball to him. I mean, if it wasn't for him, Dak probably be leading the league in interceptions, to be honest with you. So
doesn't it?
Go ahead.
Doesn't it feel though like? I mean, this is the one perception I got from the Cowboys. Like Jerry Jones, makes a statement, "We're going all in," but it's almost like he's going all in because he realizes that he's got a quarterback that's last year of his contract. He's got a wide receiver who's disgruntled, wants his money. You've got a lame duck head coach who's on the last year of his contract, and instead of trying to bolster a team, he's like, no. This is my squad, and this is what I'll ride and die with. So do you have a feeling that this season could be a massive step back to the point to where we're talking week 14, 15, there could be the possibility where McCarthy gets fired and then all of a sudden they're just starting to play like a bunch of nobodies just to try because maybe they're out of the playoffs picture. Maybe they're trying to figure out, what to do because of the fact maybe they don't re-sign Dak. Maybe they don't give CD the money. What if they just decide to wipe it all out after this year?
Yes. And week 14.
It's time for another informative edition of Mike Stout Does His Research.
When I grow up, I want to be a principal or a caterpillar.
Hey, Stout, what do you think about the Cowboys this year?
I'm happy and angry.
Are you okay, Stout?
I miss my cookie.
I think you need to get some sleep.
Oh, boy, sleep. That's what I'm liking.
Oh, it's good to see that video up and running again. But no, like,
go ahead, Mike. I'll let you go.
No, the whole point is that he said we're all in, and then he does nothing. Like it's all talk again, and I really believe he's going to try to pay CD and eventually Dak and keep Dak there. I think McCarthy's on his way out if they don't actually win a playoff game, which who knows if that's going to happen. I mean, with everything that's going on down there, I think he's gotten to the point to where Mr. Burns needs to go in the old folks' home. And his son needs to take over and see what to go from there or sell a team. Because it's getting to the point to where now, and I've been saying it for years, is that he does a really good job of making sure that Cowboys are in the news for something. Like, not about football and how good of a team we are, but it's about, selling jerseys and making the money. It hasn't been for me, at least 9 years now. It hasn't been about winning football and trying to win a Super Bowl. It's about how much money he can line his pockets with. Jersey sales, doing all this stuff. So I think when McCarthy got brought in, I thought he had a guy, and me and you talked about this, about how neither one of us thought that McCarthy was the answer to come back, and he's proven that he hasn't. Because Jerry's kind of stepped back a little bit to let the coach do his thing, and he hasn't done anything. I mean, we've gotten to the playoffs, but then one and done like usual. So, but with Jerry doing that, I want him gone. It's not about football no more. It's all about making money with jersey sales and everything else, and visiting down there and all that stuff. I don't think it's about winning football games no more, as much as he tries to say it is, because he's not doing nothing about it. So
with this whole CD Lamb hold in, whatever you want to call it, do you think Jones is actually trying to sabotage McCarthy and Prescott to get them both out of town?
No, I don't think he's got the comprehension enough to do that, to be honest with you. Told you it's time for the old folks home.
It's not Virginia McCaskey. He's a smart man. He always plays the games with players and their money. I mean, he's been doing it since the 90s.
I mean, he's always done it. So he's always trying to find a way to pay somebody close to what they want, but not everything they want, and it helps him out in his pocketbook. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the biggest news like coming out is CD Lamb and is McCarthy. This is his last year there, but nobody's really talking about the other things going on with Darren playing. Just our cornerback from last year now is out 6 to 8 weeks with a foot injury. So now we got maybe a 5th round draft pick going to be having, because we didn't go depth at corner. So now we got the trade that we got from earlier, that kid from Minnesota, Andrew Booth, either him or that Kalen Carson is going to start at corner. And Kalen's the one that's the 5th year or the 5th round draft pick. So, and he didn't play against the Raiders, so it looks like that he might be starting. But and then this is going to be the first year in a couple years we might have actually 2 offensive rookies starting. So, and we got a 1st round pick Gooten, who will be playing left tackle, and then BB, who's comes out of Oklahoma, played all 4 out of 5 positions, and Dallas decides, oh, you'll be a good center. You never done that before, so play center. So, and from the news, from what I'm reading, is I guess he's done a really good job transitioning to playing center. So, but I don't.
Has anyone tried to call Andy to see if he's awake? It looks like Andy fell asleep
No.
over there.
Well, we're talking about Dallas.
Yes. So,
If we were talking
just want to make sure
We're talking about Dallas, but
we're going to be talking about all high school teams.
But yeah, the whole thing comes down to is I hope Deuce Vaughn ends up getting to be able to actually play, because what he showed last year and some of the spots that he ran. But with McCarthy, he doesn't like smaller backs, it seems sometimes. So,
well, you definitely got a beef in Ezekiel back.
Yeah, woohoo! So,
But anyway, Brian brought up a really good point when he said that McCarthy could be fired. Who do you guys think is the first coach fired this year?
McCarthy.
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, there's quite a bit of teams where I feel like it's like a make or break with them, and I'm wondering if it's going to be somebody from the NFC South, like on
that's what I'm
New
thinking.
Orleans.
That's exactly what I'm going. I think Dennis Allen's out week 13. And the reason why I think it's – go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry. Whoa.
No,
don't jump through the camera.
It's in the NFC South, but I mean, I figured it would be the New Orleans as well. I don't think Dennis Allen's got it, but it might be the Bucks. You never know.
It's not going to be Todd Bowles. Todd
I hope
Bowles
so.
will go out. But anyway, so you're going to see a coach fired early this year. And there's 2 good reasons for that. The first reason is Bill Belichick. And the second reason is his protege from the Tennessee Titans last year. I mean, those are 2 solid head coaches sitting on the sideline.
That is if Vrabel decides not to go to college, because the rumor in Columbus, Ohio, is if Ryan Day doesn't get to the Natty this year, that Vrabel's the next guy up.
And he won't. He was born on third base.
Yeah, but are they like something like 50-7 or 15-3 over the past 2 or 3 years? I mean, you really justify actually firing a coach with that kind of a record?
That's college football. I mean, it's like now it's all about the national championship. It's all about the money, the NIL. We talk about going all in. Ohio State has basically gone all in on bolstering their team because they're embarrassed that they lost to Michigan, and then Michigan ended up winning the national title. They want to be the guys.
Speaking of embarrassed, let's not talk about Florida State.
Actually,
well, that was pretty good.
So,
That
well,
was
no,
awesome.
Georgia Tech is actually a solid team, and when UCF actually beats them this year, as I'm pretty sure it's this year, you'll just be able to tell who the best college football team in the state of Florida is. But as far as the
Anyway.
actual coach on the hot seat, Jets, Robert Saleh. So the Jets, of course, they have that one guy. He was old. He was outdated. He wasn't throwing very well. He still isn't, and he was in Green Bay for 38 years or whatever it was. And then
you mean the owner of the Bears?
No. So then he goes to the Jets. So then he goes to the Jets and plays like a play, blows out an Achilles, and now he's coming back. So with that being said, if Aaron doesn't do what Aaron's supposed to do, and at least get the Jets 500 or plus, if they were like 8-8, something like that, I don't necessarily see that job being saved. But you never know. The Jets
That's a good call.
The Jets are kind of like the Cowboys in the fact that they're used to a certain type of mediocrity, and so if by chance they don't necessarily meet even that mediocre standard, who knows what's going to happen?
Well, that's a good point. But here's the thing too. But you can go to the same token and say Eberflus could be in the same way, because if he doesn't show any kind of production with the quarterback development and stuff like that, and say they bomb out the first 8 games, I mean that's another coach I think could be hanging there. I mean, you've got an offensive coordinator that's actually been in the running for a head coach. You might have the head coach in waiting in Shane Waldron.
I think that Caleb buys him a year.
That's a possibility.
I think that no matter what happens this year,
what we're going to need is some sort of a gif, a meme, whatever the case might be, of Will Smith smacking Chris Rock, because keep the Bears out of your mouth, Green Bay Packer. No, because I think both of you actually have make a good point. I think Caleb does in fact buy Eberflus that extra year to potentially do something, because they've actually set Caleb Williams up so well with wide receivers and tight ends, and even a defense that actually can potentially do something. So that's actually a very good point. That the Bears absolutely go 4-9 or whatever the case might be. I think you're absolutely right. He is gone. Midnight train to Georgia.
Well,
anyway,
the whole thing with Vrabel, though, going back with him being on there and the rumors coming out that he'll go back to Ohio State. Do you really think he would take a job at the Jets or the New Orleans Saints? Because when he got let go, it was almost like he wanted to go to a certain place, and that's like there was like a couple teams he was going to go to, and that was it. So I don't really see him going anywhere to head coach. It seems like Brian. He might be going to college.
You know what's great about the NFL coach's contract? It doesn't hit against the salary cap. And if Jerry Jones sees Mike Vrabel sitting on the sideline and you guys are sitting at 6-10 or 6-9, and he pulls the trigger, you don't think he's going to back up the Brinks truck to Vrabel or Belichick to bring him in?
I mean, he's got to try to, but I mean, I don't know if that was one of Vrabel's teams. It was just the feeling I got when he was talking, with certain things. It was like he had a handpicked number of teams he would go to. So, but, Jerry's good at spending money when, on other things than what we need. So, but, because we're good at mediocrity, and, that's what the Bears shoot for is mediocrity at that same point. So, but.
We wasted enough.
Charlie Brown.
We've wasted enough time talking about mediocrity. Let's talk about the Bucs. Seriously, though.
You wish you were mediocre.
Kyle Trask. Does it get any better than that?
You guys are so below par, you'd win the Masters. Seriously.
Andy has been sitting on that joke for 3 weeks.
Actually came over here right now.
He wrote it down. 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 weeks ago. He's like, "Oh, this is gold. It's gold, Jerry." But anyway,
comedy gold.
Bucks
Are you
first
really
series of the game. I'll mute everybody. I don't care. Bucks first series of the game. Starters are in. It doesn't get more efficient than that. 7 plays and you're out. 6 points are on the board. Baker Mayfield looked great. 3 of 3, 54 yards. Kyle Trask looked solid in relief, I guess you'd say. 17 of 24, 141 yards, 2 TDs. Rashad White's averaging 4 yards a carry. Jalen McMillan had a huge catch for 28 yards. McMillan earns the third receiver spot this week, beating out Trey Palmer. So, I mean, Bucks are young, but I think they're on their way up. And I think you see them winning the South again this year.
With both victories, huh? Nice.
All right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brian.
No, you said Kyle Trask, right? The same guy that hit the Dr. Pepper thing for $50,000 for a student, and when he played the Colts, you talking about that Kyle Trask? Because that was awesome. That was awesome when we were at that game, and he threw it into the stands. And then the next one, he hit the Dr. Pepper thing, and then he kicked a field goal by throwing it. I mean, he did awesome.
Seriously,
that Kyle Trask.
Kyle Trask, after the game, was so sore he went to sit in an ice bath, but his body wouldn't let his body go underneath the water. He was literally sitting on top of the water.
That was
He walks on water.
3 weeks?
No, I've used that joke like 9 times. I don't think you pay attention to the show. But I'm so glad that we are done with this whole Kyle Trask thing. This is the last year that you have to hear all these Florida Gator fans talking about how great Kyle Trask is and how good of a quarterback he's going to be in the NFL. Baker looks great. If the Bucs, again, I said it last week or 2 weeks ago, if Baker, God forbid, gets injured and the Bucs have to turn to Kyle Trask, they'll be on the phone with BD and Nick Foles. They will be. You got a better option, okay. Ryan Tannehill? I mean, it's going to happen.
Let me ask you a question. So, let's say Baker Mayfield does get hurt. Is okay, but I'm saying it. And if he does get hurt, does Bol's job still safe there down in Tampa?
100%. But Bol's at least for another year.
I think Bowles. I think Bowles is secure this year. I don't think his seat's not even warm. I mean, he won a division with a team that it was a big question mark going into the beginning of last season, just because of the fact Tom Brady, retired and all the changeover, and they still won the division. Obviously, weak division, but they still won the division. They made the playoffs and actually won a playoff game. So let's throw that there. Baker Mayfield, I think, may have just turned his career around, and he just needed that. He just needed a team to give him a chance with a couple of weapons. No pressure.
I'm passing out the hymns right now because church is in session and Brian Robinson's preaching.
I mean,
are you old?
Be perfectly honest. I can see them winning the division this year, but I also think Atlanta's done quite a bit to bolster their team up. They're not going to be a slouch, and if that division's going to come down to those, in my opinion, the 2 games against the Falcons.
If we're being honest, Atlanta wasn't a slouch last year. They just couldn't finish games. They had the Bucs beat twice. Twice had the Bucs beat and couldn't finish the game.
But saying the Bucs are going to have a good team this year is like saying Florida State's going to go undefeated.
Nobody likes that. Like, seriously.
It isn't going to happen.
So we're so much better, right?
You're going to die, Rob.
See,
have him
you woke him up. He was back there sleeping just perfectly fine, and you woke him up. This is all your fault. So don't just remember that you did this to yourself, Mike.
Yeah, you wait till I get my computer squared away, and yeah, I'm gonna be just like the a-holes. But no, if you're literally talking, see, this might be a good spot for like a Bajan, like a Rippon, something like that. You know, with the Bears, that if something were to happen to Baker Mayfield, you do have that option. You know, with Bajan actually doing well, in particular, you know, with being able to actually run the ball, he's almost like a slightly younger version of Baker Mayfield, but also taller, also better.
How did he just turn it back to the Bears?
He always does. Wait, are you new? He does this all the time.
Yes, because the Bears have done so much. But this is actually something legitimate that we were talking about at the beginning, too, because of the fact that if by chance
Yes. He's on his phone, so I can do that.
Wah, wah, wah.
let's not.
He's trying to figure out how to mute me now.
Let's ease back the a-holeness just a little bit.
But seriously, looking at the Bucs ground game, the much improved ground game, you've got three solid backs that are averaging more than 3 yards a carry in the preseason, 2 of which are well over 4. Rachaad White only touched the ball 4 times in preseason, had a touchdown, averaged over 4 yards a carry. You've got new blocking concepts, a new offensive scheme. I think you're going to see a new Bucs. You're not going to see them trying to throw the ball all over the place. You're going to see more of a ground attack. We were promised that last year. It didn't happen, didn't come to fruition, but you've seen improvements this year with the Bucs offensive line. Graham Barton's going to be a stud.
Okay.
I hate
That
when
was
you guys
like
just leave.
that was like dead air. That was like crickets, man.
That's all right. But seriously, I mean,
no, I see what you're saying, Mike. I'm I think Tampa should be just as reputable as a team to represent the NFC South and win it. But, also, once again, you've got a team that's, like you said, they were in games they couldn't finish. And now they've upgraded a quarterback. They've upgraded numerous positions. And now you're kind of looking at you're looking at a possible 2-team competition for that division. And I think, like I said, those 2 games against each other is going to go a long way determining who's going to finish up on top. So
I agree with you. I honestly think you might see 2 teams out of the South make the playoffs.
And very well could. Yes.
Well, so now we went from last year 0 teams winning the division, and it was whoever. Now we got maybe 2 teams going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
There'll be 1 team going to the playoffs from that division. Again.
Just like Philly and the
Just put
East?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Put your hat back on. It's better.
Anyway. So we've wasted enough time talking about stupid preseason football. We got the regular season upon us in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I want your prediction for MVP. Patrick Mahomes cannot be your answer. See what I did there, Stout? Yeah. Change the assignment.
Yeah, I did. That's all right. I didn't have him anyway, so good job.
Go ahead, Mike. Who you got?
For MVP, Josh Allen, baby. I think Allen gets it. Wow. I think the Bills push over the hump this year with their draft and free agency. I think they'll push it over, and I think he'll end up winning the MVP. I think they go deep in the playoffs too, even though it's an AFC side, but I think they'll go pretty deep in the playoffs. The only thing that
scares me is that the AFC is so deep. It's such a tough conference.
Yep.
You could take the Bucs, who I think are going to be a NFC playoff team. You could take the Packers, who I really think are going to be an NFC playoff team, and put them in the AFC, and they don't smell the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not even a whiff of it.
I mean, like our old buddy that used to be on the show about how, the 49ers do this. Well, somebody compared the 49ers to the NBA with LeBron James when he was in the East. That's how easy it is for the 49ers. So really, are they that good or just NFC not that good?
Yeah.
Anyways, the Niners suck, and Josh Allen's winning MVP.
Right on. Brian, who you got for MVP?
I was on the Josh Allen train for a little bit just because of the fact that I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to think of somebody, if we're thinking other than Mahomes, who's somebody that could just, throw some serious stats out there. But then I began to think there's a couple of younger quarterbacks that I think are going to have breakout seasons. And the one that I chose, and it's not Jordan Love, it's CJ Stroud.
Wow.
Those were the two I was going up in the air with, but I went with that one.
And again, it's that AFC.
Yeah.
Andy.
See, I was going to say Caleb Williams, but he's going to be the offensive rookie of the year. But I was going to say C.J. Stroud, as a matter of fact, with the year that he had last year. Now, before some people, hit the mute button.
No, we call that the dump button.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got your dump right here.
Anyway.
No, they play in
So the
Chicago.
next room over.
All right, Mike, who's your pick?
I really did myself a disservice because I have Kyle Trask. No, I'm just playing. Justin Fields.
Whoa.
No. I too was with Josh Allen. And then I was thinking, you know what? Let's be different. We'll go Joe Burrow.
So what you're saying is I picked Josh Allen and you're like, well, screw this. Is that what you're writing down? Like, oh, Mike picked that. I'm going to go somewhere else. Because that's what it seemed like.
I actually am writing down everyone's predictions so we can revisit it.
Okay.
So we've got Stout with Josh Allen, Brian and Andy with CJ. Or no, Andy, you had CJ Stroud?
I did, but you know what?
Yeah.
We can even go like Jalen Hurts, for example. I think he's going to actually lead the Philadelphia Eagles to who the hell cares?
So you're going with Hurts?
Yeah, let's go with Hurts. Just to be different.
And I've got Burrow. This is where we'll go with Andy first. Offensive Rookie of the Year. You got two real candidates in Chicago for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
So I definitely would probably say Caleb Williams over Roman Dunze, just simply because how is Odunze going to get the ball? Caleb Williams. So, and when you're throwing 35 touchdowns, over 5,000, yards for the year, with anywhere between 1 to 3 interceptions, that's it. You definitely see where
the game.
But you also can look at it like this: Caleb Williams for MVP, Roman Dunze for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Wow. It's a good thing someone predicted that you'd have some very outlandish Bears takes on today's intro. We're definitely there. So you got Caleb Williams. We'll go north still, and we'll go with Brian. Brian, who you got? Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I can't find no. I mean, I started thinking about the rookie quarterbacks basically because it's almost a quarterback always seems to win the Rookie of the Year unless you have this offensive, another stud like wide receiver or whatever. And as much as I want to say like a Jaden Daniels or a Drake May, I just think this is a Caleb Williams thing. Unless Caleb Williams completely bombs out in Chicago, I think it's an obvious choice. Caleb Williams as being the Rookie of the Year.
Even after the 27-2 debacle of Bo Nix, you're going to go Caleb Williams.
Yep.
You're a Packer fan.
I know, but I see what I see, and the Bears actually has a quarterback that actually looks the part now. So,
wow. So here's the tape for this one.
Yeah, but then who did he put Harrison Jr. on there? Who's going to throw him the ball? Who's going to throw him the ball?
That's true.
Anyway, Stout, who you got?
Blake Corum, running back.
Come on. Oh, man. With your pick for MVP, Keon Coleman makes sense.
I'm just saying Blake Corum's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Just watch.
Wow.
He's got his old coach and Chargers. That offensive line's beefed up a little bit.
So
I'll give you a hint. I got you what my next three are going to pick.
amazing gold, huh?
I did my homework. You didn't say how. First of all, you didn't say how I had to do it. You didn't say how I had to do it. You just said to do it, so I did it.
Right on.
I haven't been paying attention, so I just went.
I'm going Bo Nix. I think he's going to turn Denver around this year. They'll be over 500. I think it's a solid.
I think Denver is better than advertised. I will say that.
Well, you have to.
I think Bo Nix. I think it'll come down. I think that's a good pick, Mike. I think Nix will be a good pick. I didn't think he was going to start though, but
you know who I really wanted to go with, and I'm not just blowing smoke. Is JJ McCarthy?
Yeah, I know, but he's done.
I know. Don't pick him on your fantasy team.
No, I'm going to anyways at the late rounds, just so I could have somebody.
Yeah. But he's stepping into an ideal position. And then he got Ryan Fitzpatrick by Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Him getting hurt, and I know it sucks, I think it actually might be a blessing for him to sit and kind of watch. I mean, I really do for him this year. I think it might be, you want to say injuries suck, but I think if they would have threw him in the fire right off the bat, I think JJ would be better off sitting. Even though they're saying how well he was doing, I think he's going to start seeing more film and all that stuff and seeing how the game speed is.
That's actually a really good point because I'm saying the same stuff about Anthony Richardson this year. I like him getting hurt last year may have been a blessing in disguise because I think the Colts could be in the AFC, especially with Anthony Richardson. I think they'll be good. I mean, Gardner Minshew was their starting quarterback for most of last year, and they almost made the playoffs. Right?
Yeah.
Playoffs.
All right. Defensive Rookie of the Year. I will go first this time. I'm going to say Dallas Turner. Just so Stout can't. No one's got nothing on that?
I think that's a good pick. I do. We already discussed that. I'll let you have that one.
All right. Who you got, Brian?
I have Jared Verse of the Rams.
Love it. Andy.
Matter of fact, I was going to say Jared Verse too. That's right here on my thing. But I can actually go with Quinion Mitchell, quarterback for the Eagles.
Are you sure you're not? You have a green shirt on under there?
Your face has a green shirt.
My face honestly looks like a Smurf in this light. I don't know what's going on.
That's why I told you to put the hat back on.
It's the hideousness of the image on the camera. That's all.
So, Mr. Stout, who you got from the University of Michigan?
Mike Sanders still, cornerback he's on the Commanders.
I got nothing. All right.
Just wait and watch. That one was a real pick.
Offensive Player of the Year. Brian.
You want me to go first?
Well, wait for someone to have intellectual thought first. Brian.
I think this is a big year for this team, especially if they are going to continue on an upward trend. And I think this player
Baker Mayfield, good choice.
This player is going to be the key to the team, and as long as he's healthy, he will get he will reach the 2,000-yard receiving mark, and his name is Tyreek Hill.
Ooh, that offense is going to go off this year.
Yeah.
Andy?
So I would definitely say Rome is going to have a serious say in that. However, with that being said, I'm kind of thinking either Harrison Jr. or even the quarterback for Washington.
Going with a rookie on it either way?
Daniels.
Jaden Daniels, yeah.
So, and granted with my pick for, of course, MVP, getting him the ball, it's just going to be one of those things. Quarterbacks tend to be a little bit more, obviously you can see them every single play of the game. So that's probably why Daniels, for example, might actually have a stronger, potentially stronger case than, Rome, for example. Or even Harrison Jr. because of the fact he is who he is.
Wow, that's a bold pick there.
Very bold.
All right, Mike.
I like when Indy is around. He makes my picks look pretty, like, almost decent.
No.
I'm just glad he didn't say Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Well, he's winning the MVP.
All right. It's going to be CeeDee Lamb and pay him his money, Jerry. God dang it.
Oh, yeah. We're not touching that.
Nope.
All right. So we got 2 left to go. This is where I'm going to be a homer, so I'll go last on this one. But Defensive Player of the Year.
You're going to be a what?
Defensive Player of the Year.
You got to make sure you enunciate some of those, some of those.
Go ahead, Andy.
All
What do you
right.
got?
I thought we already did Defensive Player of the Year.
No, we did Defensive Rookie of the Year. You know what? If we got to make it, Andy didn't do his homework. I mean, we pick on Stout all the time for shoving crayons on his nose. All right, we'll go to Stout.
I think I have a video idea.
So let's see. Who didn't do their homework? Raise their hand. Mm-hmm. You all were talking about it just freaking 54
Hey,
minutes.
as long as the assignment's turned in before the teacher grades it, it's done.
Hey, this is right here.
Whoa.
It's a
What
blank
I want to
notebook
say, I
page.
cannot say. Wait until we're
So what do
done.
you got? Defensive Player of the Year, Mike. Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay. Who is it? Who do you think it is?
Who do you want? Who
Probably-
I think you got?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, Aiden Hutchinson from the Detroit Lions.
Oh,
Wow.
I totally didn't
Okay.
think he was going to say that.
That's solid. They should have a good season this year.
Yeah, he
Where's he from again?
Brian, who you got? Defensive Player.
Solid number 2.
Well, I know I've been kind of down on the team overall, but this dude's a stud, and it's Micah Parsons.
Wow. That's who I thought Mike was going with. He
I was.
definitely changes the game. 100%. Andy, you
I
got
didn't
yours
want-
yet? You need me to go?
He didn't see me coming. That's the whole point. We can pick the picks you guys think I'm going to pick.
Cooper DeJean. Eagles. You know what? It's actually kind of interesting. The Eagles actually have quite a few, potential.
Rookies.
Dude,
Andy's going.
I'm going to say it again.
All rookies.
I'm telling you, I love it when Andy's here. My picks look good. I'm telling you.
Man,
No.
that Florida Kush must be that good.
You have no idea.
I'll save us. I'm going with a lead out road grader named Vita Vea. I think he's going to have a huge season. You laughed.
Yeah.
You picked
Man,
Cooper
I'm telling
DeJean.
you, I think he's hot.
It's not even legal yet. So anyway, last one, we're almost done. Comeback Player of the Year. This one's
That wasn't on my list. That wasn't on my list.
This one's a little harder.
I got this
So
one.
you got to think who was injured last year. So That eliminates all Andy's picks for rookies.
Woo!
Who you got, Brian?
I see. That's why nobody likes you guys.
Okay, so we're doing comeback player of the year, right?
Comeback player of the year.
Okay, so I flip flop between these two old guys, and I think with the AFC being so darn good, I went with the AFC guy, and unfortunately, it's going to be the owner of the Bears, Aaron Rodgers.
That's why I made you go first, because if he finishes the season, he's got it. 100%. It's Aaron Rodgers in my book too. If you guys want to cheat and get the right answer, say Aaron Rodgers. Well, Andy, who you got?
Yeah.
Who do I got? I told you, Ezekiel Elliott. He's going to be going for 1,000 yards this year.
Oh,
Ezekiel Elliott. Wow. What's he coming back from? Obesity?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because of what he was last year to what he is this year, 1,000 yards, I would say at least 7 touchdowns.
I was going to say Zeke is on the Eddie Lacy plan.
Stout, my friend. Who do you got?
I'm trying to think who got picked last year from Michigan. Aaron Rodgers. I'm cheating.
Yeah, it's
That's
the right answer. I mean, honestly, is there anybody else that you could really go with here?
No,
You could
not really.
You could go with Burrow. You can go with Cousins.
Well,
You
unless
could go with Cousins, but he would have to win the South.
Or Nick
Hey,
Chubb.
but-
What about Nick Chubb?
well, I look at it this way: it could be Nick Foles if Baker Mayfield gets hurt and they pick up Nick Foles. It could be Nick Foles too.
That's true.
All right, well, let's stop the chaos.
Hey, let's run the track. Let's go. I'm running off the tracks again.
It's not
Yeah,
what one
that's
dude
right,
said. It's
Go
not
ahead,
what one
Andy.
dude
What?
said another dude are going to be running the train, man. Come on.
Jesus.
Nope. I knew you were going to do it. Nope. No, we're not doing this again.